Headmistress. Still would. I'll take her in any form, I gotta be honest. Alright, it's time for some more Wistoria. Do me a solid, make sure you leave a like on this video, share your support, subscribe, and ring the bell if you haven't already and are new around here, but you can catch my full live reactions over on Patreon. But let's jump into this bad boy and see what they be cooking this week. Any boyfriend of Will's is a boyfriend of mine. Get up here, Julie boy. I've been waiting for this moment all my life. Mommy Colgate, can you please protect us? And for us just learning how to do this is pretty impressive that we're already above intermediate magic. Yes, still would. Hear me out. Oddly enough, her older form is a lot more hot now that I know what she's capable of. It can't be, I was promised everything. Honestly, props to his voice actor though, he's fucking nailing it. Yeah, that's what happens once you go for too long. It has to shrivel up and recharge. Don't worry, it happens to everyone. You'll be okay. A little bit of time and some orange juice, you'll be good as new. Nah, spread cheeks, take it in raw, baby. This is your moment. Oh my god, well, okay. Maybe not. So literally by absorbing all of that magic, he can then show off that he can take magic. I mean, what we were just proven is Will can take it raw. He's like, fuck man, do you want to come to my school? Come on. Turns out the hot MILF in the witch's Colgate looking character is even hot in more ways than I realized. Will finally got accepted in the tower. That other guy's probably going to get raw dogged in ways he never expected. Good for us. Now, first things first, everyone's going to want to talk about Will finally using magic by himself for the first time. Of course, he's used magic up to this point, but to finally unleash it just of his own ability is a first. But that's not the most important thing of this episode. In fact, it is Colgate. Over the weeks, us connoisseurs of refined tastes have looked at her as top-tier mommy, as someone who is adorable, a little freaky, but at the end of the day, we wanted her to teach. And there are going to be false fans this week. There are going to be some who will see that she's actually an older woman, much older than we first thought. Rather than MILF, she is actually GILF, and they are going to tap out because they are cowards. I am not a coward. I dive into the wilderness, and if anything, it actually made me like her more. Not even joking. See, when this got revealed, I thought to myself, didn't see that coming. But I gotta be honest, why would you say no? Honestly, hear me out. Her older form's actually quite attractive now that I see what she's capable of. See, a lot of people will probably say, you know what, I could deal with it if she stays in that younger looking form. I could go either way. I really could. Honestly, it'd be a bit of variety. Honestly, I think only cowards would tap out here. Now, a lot of people, like I said, are going to want me to talk about that magic stuff first, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is to say, if you haven't tried GILF or MILF, why not have both? Anyway. Now, throughout this show, Will has had a very rough hand dealt to him. And to be honest, I thought they were going to extend it for a bit. That man, I knew he would pull something. If everyone said hip hip hooray, Will is the best, then yeah, we're gonna fuck him over. But I gotta be real, the way they managed to make that guy beg for his life was actually really impressive, and it leads into a really funny dynamic, which we'll have in the next episode, which is Elfie trying to fight for her man, as Mr. Lightning Man is trying to say, actually, I want him for myself. But to see how he proved himself multiple times, I mean, initially he came in. The fact that Elfie immediately pulled our boy Julius away and said, you're hired because, well, you've already helped him. I no longer hate you because of everything that's happened. He needs to prove himself by himself. And he exactly did that. Because at the end of the day, it's not like someone was down there with him funneling him magic. So they clearly see that he's using a magical sword. And obviously the argument, because bro's trying to be a lawyer for someone who got caught literally firing the gun into the crowd, and they're trying to say, no, actually, the gun went off by itself. Like, that's basically his argument. That's not a wand. Does it fucking matter, bruh? Does it really matter? No. But he's scared of the unknown. He's scared of something changing the status quo. Unfortunately, because objectively it is true, Will is an anomaly. They've never seen something like him. Is it necessarily wrong to say it requires more testing? No. Does it piss you off? Of course it does. But they could continue to test Will for 10 years, and there's arguments to be made for it. There's so much weirdness about him. But the way they ultimately prove, you know what, fuck this shit, it's time we just accept. Mr. Lightning comes in clutch. So Will gets basically blasted with Hyper Beam, right? He says, take this blast. Unfortunately, Will's battery storage isn't enough to absorb everything, so he still does get electrocuted a decent amount. But the fact that the entire time he's essentially using, stored up like ice magic, all things considered, the fact that it then becomes a lightning blade. Immediately in this moment, I realized that probably a lot of people are going to look at Will as useful because when he initially was getting scouted, before it was the, oh, we can't accept him, he's a little prick, a lot of people were like, huh, maybe we would want him on our side. That could be interesting. And it's true. Will is the only mage who can fit in any group because he could use any type of magic. And that's very, very unique. Not to mention, sword is always going to be useful. Do I think Elfie will still get him? Probably, especially with her greedy tendencies of that is mine. But at the end of the day, showing the fact that he's able to use any element, and honestly, the guy in question, I think Will could learn a lot from him. He seems like a very fun personality. He seems like someone who, in terms of like that macho, I'm going to teach you how to be a badass with melee, I think Will could learn a lot from him. And to be honest, I thought we were initially just going with him here. I thought there was going to be no competition. And Elfie decided to say, actually, next episode, we're going to throw hands. And because of that, I assume she'll end up winning. It would be crazy if he decides to go with him instead of Elfie because he thinks he can learn more with her. But I mean, given the fact that, Will was the first one who was able to properly, utilize her magic and everything like that, there is that emotional connection with the whole ice situation. But I do like that they are, rather than fighting over, can Will come into the tower, it's now this tug of war of who gets Will. Going from the most hated and despised person in the school, who was ostracized because no one liked him, no one thought he belonged here, and he was skating by because of some bullshit, probably paying off the staff, to I want him instead, is a really powerful development you weren't expecting at the beginning of this season. To have her be like, that's my fucking boy, read a room, how dare you try to see, it's just, this is such a satisfying season. It really is, man. And I gotta be real. There's now been 2 moments in this season that could have been a season finale. Initially, when Will saves the town, it felt like a very conclusive end of a season situation. And honestly, prior to the after the credits moment with the tug of war of Will, I feel like the Elfie reunion could have also been a season finale. It's really interesting how this season's been paced because it felt like we've done multiple chapter closes. And to be honest, if they don't deliver a season 3 after setting up everything they have now with season 2, it would be insane. After the first season, the first core, I mean, had we left it off there, I would have been like, yeah, it's a good show. But now seeing where we built up everything, this is now getting into that Danmachi category where you're like, okay, there's actually this hidden depth that I wasn't expecting. Rather than a simple, fun, magical show, there's a lot here I want to explore, and I need to see more. In general, I thought this was a great episode. The past month of this show has been phenomenal. It's been in a different level than I honestly think the past month of this show, in terms of the trying to get Will situated and trying to get him up this tower, has been more exciting than Will going Sonic the Hedgehog through a fucking town, slicing and dicing. Which is an insane thing to say, but I really firmly believe that. Amazing stuff. Moral of the story, Gilf or MILF form would. And it's nice to have finally people try to, be like, I want Will. No, I want Will. Hell, even the Earth faction might get involved because of one jealous broad. Your thoughts down below. What do you think of this week's episode? I mean, gotta be my new favorite Wistoria episode for sure, but let me know your feelings down below. Leave a like, share your support, subscribe, and ring that bell if you haven't already. And of course, the Patreon. You can get my full live reactions over there, but also my other exclusives as well, like those video shadows, because my patrons make it all possible over here on YouTube, so I gotta give them those shadows too. Alright, so today we've got Kusho, Sebastian, Jewel, James, Aris Kataruz, Amy, Alcium, Ruben, and we also have Blue Wizard, so I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. Have a good one.